Welcome to 7 Dooms for Sandpoints, Interlude 2 of Sandpoint Stories. Icselo, the Scarnetti Way. The room smells faintly of old wood, lamp oil, and blood. Your blood. Drying in the stiff, cracked lines across your shirt, your sleeves, the back of your hand. The single oil lamp on the table burns low, its flame bending and straightening as if listening. Shadows jitter against the walls like nervous witnesses. You sit in a hard-backed chair that wobbles slightly on one leg. Your body feels heavier than armor ever has. Your nose throbs, broken, swollen, leaking the metallic tang of iron down your throat. Beneath the ache, you feel the deep, cold tremor of adrenaline wearing off. And then, like lightning through a storm cloud, the flashes hit you. A voice bellowing your name, Tomasa! Another, shrill with panic, no, no, no! A blade scraping free, hungry, boots splashing through filthy water, a silhouette swinging something heavy, a crack, a cry, bodies falling like marionettes with their strings cut. Blood pooling, glistening under torchlight. Your hands, your breath, your heartbeat, hammering. Then nothing. Just the lamp. Just the shaking in your hands. The door opens. Titus Scarnetti enters like a blade being unsheathed. He fills the doorway. Broad-shouldered, rigid-backed, and still wearing his evening clothes. Midnight dark fabric embroidered in thread that catches the lamplight like steel wire. A well-tailored vest, a crisp shirt, a cravat tied with meticulous precision. Even now, at this hour, he looks like wealth sculpted into a man. Graying blonde hair brushed straight back, a thick mustache, a scowl carved so deep it looks older than he is. His presence changes the temperature of the room. He closes the door with a soft click that sounds louder than the shouting in your memory. His gaze sweeps you once, like an appraiser judging a cracked vase, and without a word he moves to a polished cabinet. He retrieves a bottle of spirits and a thick-bottomed glass. Walks over to the table and sets the glass in front of you. Drink! The command is so sharp it carves through the air. He pours a single measure, amber, potent, and watches until you lift it. Do you drink? The liquid,
I do.
The liquid burns its way down your throat, warm enough to make your eyes water. He pours you another and leaves it full, setting the bottle down next to the glass. He walks around the table and sits opposite you. For several long notes of silence, he studies you. Hands folded, back straight, eyes narrowed, just enough to make you feel as though you've already disappointed him. He watches you for long, suffocating moments. The lamp crackles. Somewhere in the house, wood creaks. I want you to tell me what happened tonight, he says at last. His voice is low, but there's a current of authority beneath it, like an undertow waiting to drag you under. Everything. Don't omit a goddamn detail. You know you need to tell him, slowly, carefully. The flashes, the noises, the chaos, the sense of blood and fear. You must choose each word carefully, like it might be used against you, because with Titus Scarnetti, It might. Go on. And he sits back and waits for you to tell him what happened tonight.
Now, for clarification, I'm just coming up with the event.
This is all you, man.
I was out with my friends, as I'm prone to do. The rest was at home. So we went to get some drinks. I'm between jobs. Was working with a new crew. Figured I could use some time to network. I don't know. So I guess I looked at somebody wrong. Maybe they looked at me. It's hard to remember. I think we took somebody out behind the bar. I don't remember what he looked like. But we started to give it to him real bad. Cocky prick deserved it, from what I can remember. But then his mate showed up. I don't know who drew steel first. All I know is that I stopped it, I think. Is there anything that I'm forgetting? You're not one to come into a room without some sort of prior knowledge. I mean, you read me my rap sheet the first time I met you. From memory.
Titus listens to you with a stillness that's almost ceremonial. He doesn't interrupt you at any point. He doesn't hit you with any questions. He certainly doesn't look at you with any sign of sympathy. As you finish, daring to even challenge whether he has more to add, the flame in the lantern flickers, almost with its own nervous anticipation. Then Titus leans back. His jaw tightens. His mustache bristles as he exhales. You will tell no one what happened. His voice is quiet, but the command is iron. Not a guardsman. Not Clarissa. Not the gods themselves. He rises slowly, like a storm building. I'm going to handle this personally. Because this mess you've gotten yourself into, it threatens my family. He turns to face you fully for the first time, lit by the lamp in a way that makes him look almost like he's carved from stone. You're going to be a father soon. So you need to start acting and thinking like one. He takes a step closer, and the shadows deepen across his features. Clarissa deserves better than a reckless fuck-up who can't keep his blade pointed in the right direction. If you're going to drag my daughter and my grandchild into your world, you need to start acting like and thinking like a Scarnetti. And if you can't, well, then you'll learn, one way or another. He turns and starts to walk away. Partiker, Pillbug Partiker will be here shortly to stitch you back together. You will stay in this room until morning. You will say nothing. You will think about what I've said. He opens the door.
Well, before he leaves, was this guy somebody special? Or was it just because I'm getting out of line?
He's dead. So who he is, or who he was, doesn't matter anymore. He's nobody. He doesn't exist anymore. I will see to that.
I think Icselo's face like actually drops when he hears the guy's dead. Like he knew, but it wasn't confirmed for his haze. Continue.
He pauses, giving you a final look, waiting to see if you have anything else to say. His look at you is cold, assessing, and disappointed. If you say nothing more, he leaves. He closes the door. The lamp flickers. And you sit in the dark, broken nose, blood-stained. And you can't help but wonder whether tonight you survived this incident only to have stepped fully into the Scarnetti way of life. As you sit there, what's Icselo thinking right now in the aftermath of what happened tonight and being summoned and addressed in this way by your father-in-law?
First, there's like a lot of, I would imagine, probably shame. Icselo is no stranger to disappointing people that he has in like a parental what's the word I'm looking for? Parental spot in his life. Didn't have much guidance growing up in his teen years, fell in with a shit crowd, and it's them he's thinking about now. He looks at these people in these flashes, we probably do see like the rabble rousing of, some early 20-year-olds. I imagine they go into the bar, and this is Icselo kind of like putting the pieces back together in his mind. You can only get punched in the face so many times and still think clearly, adrenaline or not. Some guy, he wasn't necessarily, I feel like we targeted this guy for some reason. And perhaps we had got it from somebody in the shadier circles that we roll around with, that we needed to make an example of this guy. I probably have a memory of Kellen Varm, that Weasley ass, like whispering in my ear, like, "You gotta rough him up real bad, make him taste his own blood." And me kind of like a vacant look in my eyes, smile on my face. I'm just kind of drinking and kind of tagging along. And we took this guy outside and just absolutely pummeling the shit out of him. But whomever he is, he had his own group of guys prepared for something like this. We fight. Someone has like a candlestick or some blunt object. It was hard to see in like the haze of the lantern light. They hit one of our guys over the back, enough to knock him down. But you don't fuck with us. Everyone knows that. You don't fuck with us. And I know I cut loose that, my hands, I probably look down at my hands, they're all tore up. People's teeth, broken cheek, enough to rip your knuckles open. I kind of like put them below the table back in my lap. They hurt. The adrenaline's wearing off, they hurt. That throbbing in my hands is just incredible. I remember in the haze, as I kind of lose myself to the frenzy of the brawl, I remember Kellen standing back and nodding to another guy. He's new. I don't really remember his name, but they said that he's favored by Munt. Hard to say what that actually means. But I remember him pulling out a knife. I ain't never seen something so gaudy, goddamn ridiculous in my life. Fucking, this is something somebody would have made to set up on top of a mantle. You don't fight with this weapon. It's just as sharp in the handle as it is in the blade. It's all curves and weird angles. Almost looks like it was grown, if anything, how oblong it is. The blood remembers. The last thing I remember him saying. I think I got hit with whatever the guy was swinging, candlestick or otherwise, because I definitely felt the crunch of my nose as he fucking got me in the face. They took off. Or we took off. Kind of fades together after that. Do I know, I was brought here, did I come here of my own volition and I'm just all beat to shit, or was I like placed under arrest for this event or anything like that?
I think that what happened was some of the town guard, the town watch, somebody saw what was going on. It must have summoned them. You heard the whistling. You heard the sound of armored boots. And as you and your gang were, I imagine as you left that alley, without even a word having to be said, you all were kind of splitting up. Pretty common when something goes down, you know you need to split up, go your separate ways, scatter, and you're not sure if how many. Kellen got pinched, and as you are kind of, imagine you're kind of looking back, you're looking over your shoulder, making sure that everybody else got away, as you're kind of making your way through these alleyways. And it's because you took that look back and just saw as Kellum got knocked to the ground, you turn around and you run straight into Sheriff Baylor Hemlock.
Fucking hate to see it, dude. Hate to see it.
And it's possibly for the best, maybe for the worst, that it was Baylor. Because as soon as he sees you, you see his face shift from law enforcement officer on duty to suddenly recognition. And he just goes, shit. And grabs you and spins you around back into the shadow of an alley. And he puts a hand up. And you hear the metallic sound of armor and boots on the ground as a couple more guards come running by. They stop briefly, and then they continue. One of them says something like, I don't know, I saw Hemlock heading this way. And then they keep going. And from there, it was Hemlock, who, he doesn't say anything to you, but he's the one who brought you to the Scarnetti mansion. And he brought you to the door, but he did not go in. It was one of Scarnetti's men that took you and put you in that room. And it was after they left that we picked up with where you were. So, it was Hemlock that brought you there.
I feel like there's a consistency of run-ins with Hemlock probably even before he was captain in my delinquent youth. So of all people to run into, it's gotta be fucking Hemlock. And I think that there's probably even like the outburst of like, Officer Hemlock, you know, and he kind of like, and as he, you know, shoves me along, it's Captain now, boots me along the path. Now I sit here in this fucking room that I really hoped to never find myself in. You know, it's the interrogation room. Half the time you don't leave this room alive. So they say, anyway. I think we get like this nasty fucking scene where Icselo is sucking snot and blood up into his head and he spits it out onto the floor. Clarissa is gonna be so pissed.
The doorknob jiggles, rattles, and then opens slightly. And you see twin pinpoints of light from the lantern reflected in a pair of eyes much shorter than Titus Scarnetti. And then the door pushes open a little more, and a squat, hook-nosed man with a ring of hair and a little wisp here. We've seen him in present-day Sandpoint. This is a 10 years younger Oliver Pillbug Polliver. The he is the owner and proprietor of Pillbug's Pantry, a secluded alchemical shop, potions and alchemical agents in Sandpoint that less than savory people frequent, and it's clear he's the Pillbug Potiker that Scarnetti was referencing as he comes in holding a large leather, almost a parody of a doctor's bag. It's bigger, it's bulkier. You can hear glass clinking as he comes in, and he walks up to the table and he just shakes his head at you. Well, it seems somebody got themselves into a bit of a scrape tonight, didn't they?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
You look like shit.
Thanks.
Mr. Scarnetti's asked me to take care of you. He walks over, looks at you, takes your head suddenly, and just begins pressing in against your broken nose with both thumbs. Oh, that's broken real good. Does it hurt when I do this? And he presses with both thumbs. Any other broken bones? Knife wounds?
Yeah. I think I probably got stabbed somewhere in the like abdomen, a flesh wound for sure, and then I probably have a large like lateral slash across the arm.
I think we almost see again in those quick flashes is it's almost like you have to think to remember, and we see that when the knife came out, there was a point where you reflexively blocked and you took the slash across the arm, and you didn't see that whoever this man was had a second knife that as he slashed across your arm, he used that to take a quick jab into your side. But thankfully that second blade was a smaller knife. As Pillbug looks at the arm, and then he looks at the stab wound. Ah, you're lucky. Not too deep, nothing important. Does it hurt when I do this? And he sticks his finger in the knife wound.
Gosh, you have a way about it, don't you?
No formal medical training. Sorry.
Really? I couldn't tell.
He turns to the bag and opens up the bag, and he starts pulling various bottles. You see some that look like they're a thicker, ointments and salves, some that slosh with various colored liquids, and he sets almost ceremoniously, he sets a larger, slightly spherical bottle with a shimmery red liquid in it down so that it catches the light of the lantern just right. And then he starts pulling out, he pulls out this leather pouch-like thing that's wrapped and tied, and lays it out, unties it, and unrolls it. And you see a definitely not professionally cared for set of surgical tools. And he, I'm not going to describe every little detail of it, but he sets to work crudely with catgut and large curved needles, sets to work sewing up the laceration on your arm and your side. And he takes while he's doing that, he gives you a rag to sort of hold against your nose. And then he takes the rag from you, sets it on the table, places his hands around your face again, and he thinks a moment, and then he goes, can't have you screaming like a baby. Reaches over and he grabs a piece of leather wrapped wood. Bite down on this.
With a snarl.
And then you barely get your teeth down on it, and he just goes snap and pops your nose into place.
We hear a
and then once all of that is done, and there was at no point did he give you anything to antiseptic or analgesic, anesthetic, otherwise, nothing to dull the pain in any sense. Only after he set your nose painfully, he looks down at the glass of liquor that Titus had poured you, and he looks at the bottle, and you see him kind of tilt it to look at it, and he goes, "Oh, fancy!" Picks up the glass and downs it. Takes the same rag that was used to clean up your nose, a sort of clean part of it, and wipes out the glass, and then he pours the equivalent of a finger of the red liquid. Drink this.
I'll take it. Reluctant. And I'll drink it.
It actually tastes pretty sweet. I don't know at this point in your life if you've ever had this before, but Potiker has given you a healing potion. And you actually feel some of the pain ebbing away. And you see that much quicker than they should have, the wounds that he stitched up are beginning to heal already. And you kind of can't help but wonder, did he really have to do all that? Couldn't he have just given you this potion? But you know that the potion, or at least can suspect that by morning any signs that you were in a fight, any outward signs like a black eyes or a broken nose, should be taken care of.
Anything to save a few coppers, I guess.
He begins to quickly pack everything up, and including the blood-soaked rags, his tools. He carefully corks that bottle of potion, puts it back in his bag, and he looks at the bottle of liquor, the expensive liquor, and you see him, he can't contain himself. He licks his lips.
If he moves for Icselo, we'll say, if you touch that, I'll break your fingers.
He actually, so what you see from him is you see him lick his lips. And then you see him kind of look around, and he seems to understand. You don't steal from Titus Scarnetti. As he looks around and just kind of seems to go, well, I suspect I'll be seeing you again. Sweet dreams. And he turns.
Rolls his eyes.
He turns and walks out of the room and closes the door behind him. And when he leaves, you do find, over the next several moments, your eyes begin growing very heavy. And unless you actively want to resist it, he had laced that potion with some sort of sleeping agent.
I'm gonna try.
You gonna try to resist it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, and I want you to roll a will save, and we're gonna say that this is you're gonna get no modifiers to this. It's gonna be a straight D20 roll. And I'm gonna say this is a DC 15 to try to resist the effects of a potion. It was diluted.
See what you got? Nah, I got a fucking 2 on the die. I'm snoozing.
Yeah, I think it's one of those classic. We see your head lolling, and then we see the sort of the POV shot of the room. And we see the flickering light, and we see as everything starts to go a little bit dark around the edges, a little blurry, and then the whole image just goes shh, and we barely hear the sound of you falling out of the chair onto the floor. It's dark. We see fade to black for a few moments. And when everything returns to normal, we see the next day a view of Sandpoint. And it's later in the morning, and you haven't seen Clarissa since the day before, and you did not come home last night. Where would you go upon awakening?
What time in the morning is it?
It was pretty late when this happened, and I'm going to say that you probably... Actually, you know what? It was probably a good 1, 2 in the morning. It's afternoon. It's probably 1, 2 in the afternoon. You slept for... Because it was under the effects of a potion, and you failed so badly, I'm going to say you slept for 12 hours.
Fuck my life, dude.
So...
Icselo says this out loud. Oh, fuck my life.
So yeah, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon the next day. You do feel better. The aches and pains are mostly gone. You do have the stitching, and you see that the knife wounds didn't heal fully. And reaching up and feeling, Pillbug didn't quite set your nose perfectly.
Great. I pour myself a drink. And that's how we're going to start this morning off. I imagine I have a crippling headache. So I'm going to take this drink. This is some sort of Scarnetti safe house, so I am not to assume that this is the house proper. I would poke my head outside and see where in my haze I was taken by Baylor.
So I guess the question is, I'm going to say actually that based on who you were hanging out with and
I came up with some names, by the way.
What had happened, I'm going to say that you were probably at the feed bag, which is number 42 down in the docks. The feed bag is also not a it's actually described as the town's most notorious and dangerous tavern. It's an open secret that it's a front for the Bunyip Club, which is sort of like the local thieves guild, the local crime guild.
God, we were being such cock asses.
Yeah. Yeah. You were in the motorcycle bar and you picked a fight with motorcycle gang. Kind of thing.
I feel like there's probably a loose reputation for this crew of guys. Is like, oh, those fuckheads.
So I'm gonna say though, you weren't taken terribly far away. I feel like there's some unmarked houses over on Prickleback Lane, in sort of towards the river, above 30, 31, 32. Knowing that Scarnetti owns the lumber mill along the river, it makes sense that the safe house is relatively close to that, or one of the safe houses. Mm-hmm. So that's where you find yourself, is on Prickleback Lane, in a small house. There's actually only a couple other rooms than the one you were in. In fact, when you come out of this room, you find that one of the rooms actually has a fireplace and a bed and a much more comfortable place that you could have been. But it only has the one exit onto Prickleback Lane.
I imagine Clarissa and I have some kind of shitty apartment in town. I don't know exactly where that would be on the map, but I just picture rundown apartment comp. Not rundown, because I don't think Titus would let his daughter go.
I was just going to say, I think there's a limit to... So I think Scarnetti would have provided. It's up to you whether or not you would have accepted, or how much help you would have accepted, and how much you think Clarissa, would have accepted. Clarissa's...
So actually, what probably happened is Clarissa is in some stage where she's like, fuck my dad, I hate that guy. Not because he's a shitty person, but because he's just trying to be her dad, and she's her father's daughter. And like, I'm an act of rebellion. Titus don't fucking like me. I'm a shithead. I'm gonna marry his daughter. She's having my child. So I think what happened is, like, she's like, fuck it, I don't care where we go, we just need to get away from my dad. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever you say. And then Titus is like, here's some money. If you do not put my daughter in somewhere respectable, you will not put my daughter anywhere. You will find yourself in the river. And it's like, okay, threats from my dad, but I took the money, so we have like a decent apartment, I would say.
I'm gonna say, just based on the way we know Sandpoint is laid out, you probably have a place over north of so if you look at number 17, which I don't remember what 17 is, but if you look at number 17 on the map, that's
17 is bottled solutions, alchemical supplies.
So if you look just north of that, there's an alley called Tanglefoot Alley.
Yes.
And then Frog Alley right near there.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense that you were able to get one of the nicer apartments, maybe even an apartment above Bottled Solutions, but with an alley entrance. So in this part of town is not the worst part of town. It's not the best part of town, but it's not the worst. And I think being above a reputable business like Bottled Solutions gave just enough peace of mind to Titus that
I don't have to dot around the streets.
Yeah, and you're ironically, what would have really set him off is that if you had an apartment anywhere in the neighborhood of where the safe house is or the lumber mill or any of that, he doesn't want you anywhere near where his workers live.
Right, his enterprise must be protected. I would go home and face the wrath.
So you just go straight home?
I think I would probably end up leaving afterward. I feel like I need to go talk to my guys, but I definitely would probably go home if it's like afternoon. It's like oh fuck, the longer I wait at this point, the more likely I am to actually get murdered.
Okay, so it's gonna be probably around 2:00 by the time you get home. I'm gonna say roll me a D100, and we're gonna say that there is
God, I hope she's not home.
There's a 30% chance that she is not at home.
That would be freaking ideal. I rolled a 67.
67. So if I get within 15 on either side, then she is not at home. If I roll exactly on the number, then it's highly unlikely, but if it happens,
it's happened before.
It has happened before.
Me,
that's true.
I've seen it on this channel.
Yeah, it has happened. If it happens, it means that she's not at home, and basically, I want to treat it that when you roll the number exactly, there's a chance that it's kind of like the best of the best possible solution.
There's a note saying that she loves me and she hopes I get home safe.
Yeah, something along those lines. So let's see what comes up on a D100 roll. That's a 90. So
15 on either side.
That'd be what? 82 would have been the highest it could be for her to be gone. Make a reflex save, please.
7.
Okay, I was gonna say it's a DC 10. You get a 7. As you walk in, as soon as you open the door, a piece of cookware comes flying across the room and hits you right in the chest, breaking. It hits hard, but it breaks. It's a piece of I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but like crockery, I think is the word I want.
Sure.
So yeah, it's like she was waiting for you, and as soon as she heard you coming up the steps, and as soon as that door opened, she let loose.
I think we see me open the door, I get hit, the door comes closed again. What if that was anyone else?
I knew exactly who it was.
You gonna throw more things at me?
She reaches over and grabs a pewter mug. Make a reflex save. You can do this one with a +2 bonus because you can see what she's about to do. The DC for this is going to be a 10.
All right, I rolled a 13 on the die for a total of 15.
So with that, you can either catch it or definitely move out of the way of it.
Well, this is my pewter mug, so I catch this. This is one of the few possessions I have.
You see her move like she's looking for something else to grab, and it looks like she threw, sort of as you take the assessment of the scene, you realize that she's sitting in one of the more comfortable chairs, and on the table next to her was it looked like she had eaten a meal, and she was probably drinking out of your mug. And then, so that's what she had at hand. And you see her kind of go like this, and she stands up, and that's the first time we see it. As Clarissa stands up, she kind of stands with a little bit of difficulty and arches her back as we see that Clarissa's at least 7-8 months pregnant. And she goes, I will throw more. And
You will not throw anything else while you're still pregnant with my child, Clarissa. Think of the baby.
I totally gaslight her.
What? Where
Please.
have you been?
Down off Pickleback.
The hell are you doing down in Pickleback all night?
Well, I certainly didn't expect to stay there all night. In fact, I left around 1, 2 o'clock, and I anticipated coming home. Unfortunately, your father had different plans, and I was instructed, more or less, to stay where I was.
She comes walking across the room, much quicker than you'd think an 8-month pregnant woman could move. And she gets up close to you, and she... You're not sleeping around on me, are you, Icselo Tomasa?
You are the only woman for me, Clarissa. I've said it to you a dozen times. I said it on our wedding day. I say it to you now.
Don't try talking sweet to me. What do you mean, my father had other plans?
Well...
And don't lie to me.
You know how Redcap Caliph can get sometimes when we're drinking. He got into some guy down by the docks. The guard showed. We ran. Baylor grabbed me, God's forbid, and pulled me aside into some house. Your father showed up. Pillbug showed up. He gave me something. I don't remember too much after that.
I would pull up, like, you know, my tunic a bit to reveal the stitches that probably don't look good, but I'm healing, so it's fine.
Terrible with a needle.
And I'm sure at this, in our apartment, we have some sort of like polished silver mirror.
Yeah.
And I look.
He fucked my nose all the way up. God damn it.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, you're healed, no black eye, but yesterday...
That's probably the fucked up part. It's like, I can't even reset it now, because it's already healed.
It's not just reset, it's magically set in place.
Oh.
And he did a terrible job of setting it, then used magic to finish the healing. And you look like a man who broke his nose years ago, but you didn't look that way yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, you look like Owen Wilson now. You just look in the mirror and go, wow. Wow.
And I turn back to Clarissa.
I didn't mean to stay out all night.
Go ahead and make a diplomacy check. And I'm going to give you a +2 because you're dealing with your wife.
Total of 14.
You see all sense of the angry, fiery spitfire that she can be sort of melts away as she walks over and says, "Let me see," and kind of pulls you down, and she gently, in complete antithesis to how Pillbug handled you yesterday, she gently holds your face in her hands and is very lightly running her thumb over the nose. Well,
and she breaks my nose.
I could have done a better job than Potiker.
A horse could have done a better job than Potiker. Goodness.
And then she kind of leans back and she goes, "I don't know. I kind of like it. It kind of suits you."
I smirk. Don't say that.
Well, let's face it. If you didn't get your nose broken in some alley brawl at some point, I probably would be breaking it. Sooner or later.
So you're saying it works to my advantage right now?
Right now it does.
We can reconsult it later.
She walks over and she tries to bend down to pick up the pieces of broken crockery. And then she doesn't even make it halfway down, and she just goes, "Ah, damn it."
Don't worry about that. I'll clean it up.
I don't know what's worse. You hanging out with Redcap Caliph and the others and getting into brawls like this, or my father intervening.
Really didn't expect to see him last night. I assure you.
Why didn't Baylor arrest you? Why did he take you to my father?
Well, I know Baylor has a soft spot for me. He has my whole life, but your guess is as good as mine. I didn't think he was in bed with your father like that at all.
I wouldn't put it past my father to have the sheriff on his payroll. Maybe it's for the best. Try not to get into this kind of trouble again.
I'm trying. You know how Kellen is.
Kellen? He's the reason you got into this?
He picks the biggest guy in every bar and he talks shit like he knows how to back it up. Unfortunately, the only one that knows how to is me, because I hit the guy as he's hitting Kellen.
You need new friends.
I wouldn't change my friends for the world. They're great. They're great guys. You just gotta get to know.
Well, and she kind of goes over to sit down and she's kind of rubbing her belly. I don't know if I want them around our child.
I can understand your concern.
Are you going to take our child into the feed bag with you?
No, never. At least not until she's 21.
Did my father say anything to you about what he wants in return?
No, unfortunately he didn't. He just said that I need to be careful of his enterprise.
Well, he will.
I know.
He's going to want something.
I know.
What are you going to do?
I'm gonna give it to him. I don't know. What do you expect?
can't make an enemy out of your father.
No. It's too late for that. I kind of think you already started out as an enemy of him.
That was your fault, not mine.
Well, it's your fault for being a bad boy.
We are who we are, Clarissa.
You see she's kind of staring staring out the window that looks out over the front, up from above the bottled solutions, and kind of looks vaguely southward. Have you ever thought about moving? Like what?
You mean like outside city limits, like your father's house? Or?
Like out of Sandpoint, out of the hinterlands, somewhere like, I don't know, Magnamar or Corvosa, Absalom.
I can say that I've thought about it. But every time I think about it, I realize I don't think I can go anywhere but here. I can't really put my finger on it. But this has always been home.
I know, it's just, I feel like I'm forced to be here because the Scarnettis are one of the founding families. They settled here, however many years ago.
I mean, you're not in line to take over your father's empire, Clarissa. You can go wherever you want to, and your father would pay for it, I'm sure.
Do you think there's a world in which we could ever take our child and get out from under my father's desire to help?
No, I don't. He'll follow you to the end of the world. You are his gem, and I can only imagine what he will think of our child.
Well, then we're going to have to find something. We're going to have to find something better than you moving from job to job. Especially shitty jobs. And once the baby's born, and maybe I can go find some work. And we can get out of living above a store, at least. Maybe we could get our own place out in the hinterlands, a nice farm.
You want me to be a farmer?
Yeah, don't you want to have goats and chickens and...
There's some sort of straw hat, like, on the wall, you know, I get it, and, like... Gotta collect up the chickens, ma'am.
Need your pitchfork.
I smile. Don't worry, I'll get a job. I'll find something. I'll take it more seriously. You're right. Living above a shop for the rest of our lives is not what I want either. I'll see what's available. I'll quit fucking around. I don't really want to go work in the lumber mill.
No. I imagine there's this point where you go to take the straw hat off and hang it back on a hook, and she goes, "No, leave it on. It suits you." And then she just kind of looks at you with a smile, and she goes, "You better get over here, Farmer Tomasa." And the camera just sort of moves out the window, out over Sandpoint. We're going to move to... I think as we move out over Sandpoint, we continue moving southward. And away from where your apartment is, until we get to all the way south of town. I just gotta remember which one it is. Actually, it's the furthest house to the southwest, number 48. On the other side of the Sandpoint Harbor, Scarnetti Manor. And as the camera is moving across Sandpoint into the manor, we see sort of the hyperlapse of the sun setting and rising and setting and rising and setting and rising. And the camera moves to sort of come in from a high angle and look at the Scarnetti Manor. And we hear the sound of a newborn baby crying. It's a month or so later, 6 weeks. And a midwife is up in a room with Clarissa. And down in the drawing room is you, Titus Scarnetti, Kaeryn Scarnetti. It's just the three of you. Kaeryn is your brother-in-law, Clarissa's Weasley older brother, who also never seemed to like you, but his distaste for you has always been... I think Kaeryn is the kind that he's as civil as he can be when his father's around. But he's a dick to you when Titus isn't around. But he also...
That's fine. I'm addicted to him.
Yeah, he's also nothing like his father. For all of the broad-shouldered burliness that Titus Scarnetti is, Kaeryn is built more like his sister. In fact, I would say that Clarissa is the tougher of the two siblings.
And she's hit me plenty of times. I'm not worried about you.
So there's, I think, this sort of quiet anticipation. Titus is standing by the fireplace mantle, having just poured himself another glass of something, and Kaeryn is sitting there looking impatient and like he just doesn't want to be there. But there's a family obligation. What are you doing sitting in the drawing room or standing in the drawing room with these men waiting?
I think we actually see Icselo standing like posted up against maybe the mantle, and his arm is up, and we see like that fresh pink scar of that long slash along his forearm. It's healed, but it's one of those things that magic just doesn't get rid of. He kind of swirls clinking ice within his glass, thinking, God, just how fancy are we to have ice in our glass whenever we want to, taking a drink of whatever the hell is up Titus's ass to procure for us for this event, because every Scarnetti, everything has some vintage that we need to pair with. It's a lot for Icselo, and he just kind of rolls with it.
We hear the crying of an infant coming from up the stairs. And Kaeryn and Titus both look in that direction suddenly. Titus looks to you, finishes what he's drinking, and then he walks over and kind of stands in the middle of the room waiting. And a moment later, the midwife comes down the stairs, holding a bundle in her arms. She doesn't have the baby with her. She comes down and she says, at first she almost looks like she's looking where does she go next? And then she sees the room to the drawing room open, and she sees Titus standing there with you behind her and Kaeryn, and she says, "It's a girl." And then she looks she looks past Titus and she says to you, You have a daughter.
The drink is out of my hand, and I am moving through the door to see my child with utmost haste.
Titus imposes himself between you just briefly. Just not in a menacing way. He just stops you. He just says, I guess he kind of interposes himself and puts a hand on your shoulder. And then he holds a hand out to shake your hand.
The kind of just like, I feel like I probably show it on my face more, because I'll shake his hand, but like you can see over Icselo's face just like the fucking audacity of you, man. And like I'll shake his hand and just like blow past him.
You head up the stairs quickly, and in those moments before the midwife came down the stairs and you made your way upstairs, another attendant has cleaned up both the baby and Clarissa a little bit. You maybe catch just a glimpse as a nurse or attendant quickly rolls up some bloody rags and moves them out of your view, out of sight. And sunlight is streaming through the window with these billowy white sheer curtains and illuminating your wife and your newborn daughter.
I go to them so fast and like without hesitation, like, God's above, the sun is just not as radiant compared to you right now.
She smiles and looks up at you and she says, we have a daughter.
Gosh, she is beautiful.
What do we name her?
I have an idea. It's my grandmother, Lyra. Well, really, it was Lyra-this, but that's much too long. Who is she? Lyra, though.
Lyra. And she looks at the baby and very lightly brushes her fingertips across her forehead. And your baby daughter blinks her eyes and opens them, and you see those newborn storm gray eyes. They haven't and won't for many months, maybe even a couple years. They won't settle into a color. But right now they look like a storm, the color of a storm at sea. And they look up and they seem to flicker between Clarissa and you. And Clarissa says, "Hello, Lyra. I'm your mommy. And this is your daddy." And I think the camera just slowly pulls away as you and your new little family just bask in these moments, this time together, as your whole world has suddenly just changed. As we are slowly moving away from this scene, though, what is Icselo's thoughts now as his newborn daughter sits before him?
Gosh, I have so much shit to get together. It's like the true dawning of realization is like, oh man, I have so much love for this thing that is now in my life that nothing else could possibly matter. It's like, I gotta get a job, I gotta get a better place to live, I gotta make sure I have constant care for my wife and child, you know, like, list. And I think at the bottom of it all, I gotta quit hanging out with the guys.
Sometime later, we see downstairs where there's the drawing room, and there's another room, I want to say, what's the word I want? It's like a sitting room or a conservatory kind of a thing. I don't know if that's the word I want, but it's sort of like the ladies' sitting room.
Sure.
In that room is, of course, Clarissa and the baby, Mayor Kendra Deverin. The midwife stays nearby. The midwife, by the way, is Hannah Velynia, who is a local midwife in town. She actually has a place in town. But also in there is Kay Tesserani, the madam of the Pixie's Kitten, which seems like an odd choice to be here, except for the fact that she is the wife of Sheriff Baylor Hemlock, and a few other important, not necessarily nobles, but people who are either in local government or own shops in town. And in the drawing room would be Sheriff Baylor Hemlock, Kaeryn Scarnetti, Titus Scarnetti, you, probably, I imagine, at least for a brief time, Father Xantus from the Sandpoint Cathedral is there, and a few other people that also hold prominent positions in town. The women are fawning over the baby. The men are basically, you have shaken so many hands today. Most of the men are smoking cigars or pipes. Titus has broken out the really good and rare vintage of brandy and other liquors and stuff from Absalom. And at some point, He's been avoiding you directly. More bragging, less so bragging about you than bragging about his daughter and his granddaughter, his new granddaughter.
Naturally.
But after Xantus leaves, and after a few people leave, until there's a smaller crowd here, at that point, Titus would finally come over to you. And he's got an expensive cigar, half smoked. He is a little red in the nose and the cheeks. But he does not stagger. He does not waver. He holds another glass of brandy. You need a better job.
I think we see like them both standing there, and where we see like the fresh drink of Titus. Icselo's drink hasn't, just kind of been holding it. Scar, they probably just gave him, because I don't have fucking money for cigars. Partially smoked, and now sits in the ashtray beside him. Let me guess, you had something in mind.
Well, I can't help but notice that you've not exactly been very skilled in the finding of employment of late. I had hoped by the time your child was born you would have found something. But don't worry about it. I found something for you.
What is it?
He tucks the cigar into his mouth, and with his free hand, he motions to somebody from behind you. And a third man joins the two of you. Icselo, meet your new boss. Baylor Hemlock, Sheriff of Sandpoint, who just 6 weeks ago brought you to the Scarnetti safe house. Looks at you. Holds out his hand for you to shake.
I think there is like that same flash of recognition we've seen first time that I confronted him when he was pulling me to the safe house. It seems like every time I have a run-in with the guard, it's always Hemlock. And it just seems less coincidental and all the more intentional in this moment right now. And I'll take his hand and I'll shake it.
And you see that the handshake was not merely an act of cordialness. As he pulls his hand away, he's put something in your hand. And looking down, you see a badge of the Town Watch in your hand. I expect to see you first thing Moon Day. I'll be honest, Tomasa. I never thought I'd see a day I'd be pinning a badge on your chest.
I think I'm just kind of like standing there looking at it, more in disbelief than anything. I can't believe I'd see the day where you handed it to me.
Well,
I think though Baylor probably would recognize it, because this is probably, you know, not his first judgment of me, but there is a tone of sincerity in what I say. Like whatever I'm about to do, I'm about to do seriously.
Baylor looks at you, just kind of gives you a little bit of a nod. Looks over at Titus, who just gives him a curt nod, and you and Baylor recognize that he's just been dismissed. As Baylor sets down, takes a last swig of what he was drinking, sets it down, takes a drag off of the cigar that he was smoking, and seems to almost reluctantly place it in the ashtray as he turns and walks out of the drawing room. At this point, it's just you, Karn, and Titus. And Titus says, "You are now a member of the Sandpoint Town Watch. You report to Sheriff Baylor Hemlock. You will serve and protect Sandpoint." And then he takes a long drag on the cigar, exhales up into the air, and then points at you with the cigar. "But be clear on one thing. It's me that you work for. Understood?"
No words. I kind of just look at this untouched glass. There's a nod.
You can see, as you're making this consideration, you can see, looking across through the open door, you can see the last few women remaining behind as Clarissa's holding Lyra, and she catches your eye and just sort of smiles at you with this bright smile and sort of holds Lyra up proudly. And you see Mayor Kendra Deverin smiling and fawning right before you make.
That's probably all I can see right now. I can hear him, but I don't see Titus. I don't care what fucking Karen's doing. I just see them. I nod.
Titus claps a hand on you, on your shoulder, and he says, "Well, it seems we'll make a Scarnetti out of you. Anyway." And I think that's where we're going to end this interlude. I want to, in my mind, I'm not sure if I messed this up. Did I say that Karn or Titus said that you work for him?
He said Titus.
Okay, I want to be sure. Because I know earlier I kept mixing up Karn and Titus. I knew
what you were saying.
Yeah.
I knew what you were saying.
Karn's not anybody to be working for, but
I'm not threatened by Karn.
So yeah, this was a look at roughly about 10 years ago.
Gosh, so much has changed in 10 years. I still fucking hate that.
10 years ago, things were different. You and Clarissa were happily married.
Happy? Question mark?
Well,
let's just be clear. Domestic violence in any and all forms is not okay. I laugh, but that's a serious thing.
Yeah. But, yeah, I wanted to see a glimpse of where Icselo was 10 years ago, sort of before and at the moment of his daughter's birth. And we've seen where things are now, and we know kind of the state of things, but we don't know how they got to where they are. So that's the whole purpose of these interludes. It's a chance to get a glimpse into these characters and maybe make us understand as we continue with learning more about them in the present day and their adventures. It gives us a little more insight into who those characters are. And to be clear, Baron, you had no idea where I was going to go or what we were doing exactly. I just told you, hey.
Well, the prompt given is I'm going to ask you some things. You just got to answer. And, it's like this entire time you're like, it could be like an hour. It could be like an hour and a half. It could be 2. Depends on where you go. And so, like, the first question is, like, what happened? It's like, well, if I'm short and sweet, this is not going to be an hour and a half, 2 hours kind of thing. Let's see where this goes. It really went where I thought it was. It went where I thought it was gonna go. It's like, god damn it, dude. I'm so in bed with this family right now.
Well.
And it's ironic because, like, Icselo in present is just like, fuck them. I fucking can't stand them.
Yep.
Like, I'm not like open antagonistic, but if someone's like, what's your opinion of Titus Scarnetti? I'd be like, yeah, fuck that guy, dude. Fucking don't like him. But I also have this, I'm a person of importance and a person of his importance in life, and if he killed me, that would not go well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I toyed with the idea of, like, how much do we reveal? I had toyed with having Titus put you on some kind of a job. And I thought, no, I think we saw what we needed to see. I had this general idea. I wanted to start it with this sort of mise en scene, where we see the immediate aftermath of something that went down, and we know that Icselo is younger and he's in trouble. And then who it is that's intervening. And it's the last person you want to be on your side. And then, kind of, like I said, I wanted you, as this is the whole point of what we do in these games is, and what I do as a game master, is to shepherd the stories, help tell the story, set the groundwork, but we work together to tell these stories. So I didn't want to tell you this is what happened. I wanted to give you just enough to where it's almost like you're trying to remember what happened, but not so much that you didn't have full creative freedom to do what you wanted with it. I didn't know what you were going to do with it. I didn't know where you were going to go, who you were going to involve. And you mentioned Kellen, and you mentioned Redcap Caliph, which is a great name. But Baron actually sent me a list of other cohorts.
That's what I like about this. Is my favorite part of the game. It's like, prompt. We loosely know that I'm rolling with some shady dudes, and it's like, who am I rolling with? And it's like, we know Callum Varm because we killed him.
Yep.
But it's like, I'm gonna make up some names real quick.
These are great names too. I'm not gonna say any of them because I want to save them for future appearances. But these are some great names. But Redcap Caliph, that was great when you said that. I was like, oh man, that's great.
I can't remember. Some media that I just watched had a red cap in it, and that's what inspired it.
It's so great to have in a setting like this, to give somebody a name that coincides with a sort of a mythological type boogeyman, I guess. And maybe not so mythological given the setting that we're in, but
maybe not,
so yeah, this was great. And this was only the second of 5 interludes. We've already seen.
Oh god, dude, this is just my interlude.
Yeah, and what's great about this is that we know what all of the interludes are called, and obviously who's in them, but because we're pre-recording this, none of you will have seen any of the other interludes at the time of the recording. So well,
I'm not gonna say what it is, but Millie's, it's just like, what the heck is going on?
Right, especially with what we know about Millie. Talk about a title.
It's very intriguing.
Yeah, so we've now had Interlude 1 with Natalin. We've had Interlude 2 with Icselo. Next week will be Interlude 3 with Millie. We're going to save that title for when that one is teased right before it goes live and during that one. But for now, I want to say a thank you to anybody in the future who was hanging out with us during
Nobody's here right now.
Nobody's here right now. But anybody that may have been hanging out in the chat while this was going on, I'm sure future Jake and future anybody else were conversing with you or whatever. Or maybe you're somebody that likes to lurk quietly in the background, or you're watching later on the VODs. Know that regardless, we appreciate you, and we hope you enjoy these presentations as much as we enjoy playing them. And just these incredible players. And today, a huge thank you to you, Baron, without whom this would have just been me talking to myself for an hour and a half. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this interlude the same way we end every session. You can say it with me if you want.
And I go.